Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, pick guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound pickups.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show with us, the Guitar Knobs.
Right.
This show right here is free.
Free.
So there you go. We won't be sending you a bill, and that's it's something that we absolutely love to do. And I'm just going to state just really quickly for the record that I truly miss Tony and Jared. This whole thing has been a little bit of a pain in the butt, and we haven't been able to yuck it up together in a long time, and it kind of sucks. But we have someone else to yuck it up with today. Who is you that we're going to yuck it up with here?
Dan Adamson from Blammo Electronics.
Hey.
All right. Welcome, Dan Adamson from Blammo Electronics.
Hey, wait 1 second, really quick. I have my own applaud track, if that's okay. And then also one of these.
Perfect.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Touche. So, Dan, you're familiar with the show, but for those who aren't, Tony, what do we do on this show?
Well, I think we like to talk about gear and to the people who make this gear. Specifically, that would be boutique gear. That would be things like boutique pedals and guitars and amps and accessories and all sorts of things. And we like to get the story behind the story.
That's right.
And occasionally we do 101s. Jared likes those.
I love them. You learn
Well
stuff.
done. Yes. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Today we're going to be talking about these pedals right here from Blammo. How in the world you got away with calling it Blammo? I mean...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Blammo Electronics, not Blammo. And they put out the log, which is the world's best toy. So, yeah, they'll probably come after me soon, right?
Blammo.
So, listen, gentlemen, we've got a great show ahead of us. We got a lot of cool things to talk about.
I can feel it.
Yeah, and so let's get into it. We have a couple of announcements. First of all, we would like to say thank you to Rode Mics.
Road!
For providing us the Rodecaster Pro, this beautiful machine that's collecting our voices from around all the places that we're at, and for the Procaster mics sitting on at least 3 of our desks. Dan, sorry you don't get one tonight.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah,
I got a NT1A.
There you go. That'll do it.
That's a Rode. It's a Rode. Hey, I'm a part of the club.
I like it. Oh, beautiful. That's great. We also want to just thank all of our patrons at all levels for your participation and support, and it's greatly appreciated. At the end of the show, we're going to tell you how you can help support us to keep the show going and do all the things and have the fun things and do lots and lots of giveaways. Speaking of which, just recently gave away a bunch of stuff, and we're going to keep giving away more bunches of stuff. So if you want to know what those bunches of stuff are, you have to head over to our Instagram to check that out. We post all that stuff up, and go ahead and hit follow while you're there. Dan, for those who are not familiar with your pedals, where can they check them out right now as they're listening along?
I'm just selling them through Reverb right now. There's so it would just be reverb.com/Blammo or BlammoElectronics.com. That'll just link you right over there too.
Great. Go check those out. We're going to go through we're going to go through 3 of them today. We're going to hit the Cork Sniffer, which is a great name.
I love it.
The Fuzz Detonator and the Shrew. So let's have some fun. Gentlemen, what's going on in our music world this week? Tony Baloney is going to lead us off, and then Dan will hear from you, okay?
All right,
Well,
sounds
see,
good.
this week I have been doing some work on the website. I think last time we got together, we talked about me working with Reverend Guitars, and they would like me to supply replacement guards for their customer base. So they sent me over just a big old package of their pick guards for me to template, and a bunch of photos and things like that. So I actually got all of the categories fixed on my website, and all the photos have been inserted, pricing and all that fun stuff. So now people can just go over to pickguardian.com, and under the Reverend category, you can choose the original US models, or most of the new, I guess they have both the set neck and the bolt neck and bases and all the fun stuff. So if you need a replacement guard for a Reverend, you know where to go.
That's awesome. I'm in a couple Reverend groups on
cool.
Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll start spreading the word as well.
Spread the word. Yeah, it's actually, I can actually send you a link and you can paste that in there too. But the cool thing is I've got a lot of templates already, but some of the ones that Kenny sent me from Reverend I did not have, and so it's kind of cool to have a full set, or as complete a set as possible.
Yeah, that's way cool. I love Reverend guitars. Big fan.
I've always loved them. Years and years ago, I had, one of the Reverend Spies, which is one of the original, I guess now they call them the phenolic models, because they had kind of like a phenolic top, I guess, or something like a Dan Electro kind of thing.
What is a phenolic top, Tony?
It's like a plastic coating, like think of like Formica.
Oh yes,
and a lot of the first U.S. run models the bodies were similarly built to like Dan Electros, with a kind of a I guess they use spruce or some sort of wood frame, and then they glued essentially masonite with Formica on the top of the front and back.
Right. So Formica, everybody, think about your mom or your grandma's countertop that didn't spring for the marble or other things.
Exactly.
Or butcher top. It's the stuff that always peels off the top of the roll part of the counter.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've for years and years, I mean, I think the products that they make, I actually, they don't have U.S. production anymore, but almost every one of the newer lineups, which are made, I believe, in Korea,
right,
they're phenomenal instruments. And the fact that they were able to offer set neck guitars in addition to bolt-ons, and they've really just expanded their bass line. So really great stuff. I think it's very affordable, and they're just, as Jared knows, they're just great guys to work with.
Yes.
That's really cool to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, I met Ken Haas about, 5-6 years ago in Texas, and then I met him a second time at a cousin's wedding of mine, and I was like, "Is that Ken Haas? Is that it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Ken Haas."
He's kind of hard to miss, as are you, Jared.
Yeah, we're both we're about the same height and everything, and he always wears a fedora or a hat, and that's kind of his thing.
Trilby. He prefers the Trilby, as I recall.
Trilby, okay. I mean, yeah, that's his look. So I was like, that's definitely him.
Man.
And yeah, he's a really good dude. I became friends with him and his wife. They're just great people. His wife helps him run that thing too. They kind of Penny and him do that thing together. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's on the Reverend show today. We're going.
Yeah, and don't forget Joe Naylor. He's also still in the. He also still helps.
Well, we have to get them on the show. I mean, we just need to get that to happen.
Oh yeah, well they're up in Toledo, so
I know.
It's just a.
We should just go knock on their door.
We can do that.
Tell you what, I'll go knock on Ken's door. We'll see how that goes.
Who are you?
So, anyways, Dan, let's get into what's going on with you and your music world this week.
All right. I got myself a Casio Rapman off of eBay.
Oh,
I don't know if you probably don't know what it is. It's kind of a dorky, dumb instrument, which is exactly why I wanted it. It's the only keyboard. I think they have some rip-offs, but it's the only one that I know of that has the record scratching sound on it. And it's terrible. The drum beat sound.
I remember that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I guess it's kind of hard to get cheesy drum sounds when you want them. I mean, I'm not really sure why you would, just other than just to entertain yourself. But I mean, really, that should be the goal with music anyway. So I picked that sucker up, and I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail.
That's sweet.
I got a SK1 too, and I got a SK5. So that should kind of put an end to me buying cheap Casio stuff.
I mean, now you're probably like into the whole like converting like play school like kiddie toys into musical like synths and stuff.
Well, I've done a little bit of that, and I love the sound of it, but it's kind of harder than you would think. It takes some patience. Once in a while, you'll get lucky and find a connection that does something cool, but a lot of the times you're just kind of floundering, so it's not that fun.
Yeah. I found it to be the same way. I attempted it once, and I was like, this is stupid. What am I doing?
Right.
And I stopped.
Dude, it's hard to find the right toy to get started on, and if you're lucky enough to get that first one that has a bunch of easy bends, then you might be inspired to keep going. But there's certainly people who are really great at it.
Yeah.
I love what they do.
I think Alicia Lowe is somebody that thrives in that kind of thing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but
yeah, absolutely. I love her stuff.
Oh, great. Yeah, she just did one that was based off of a phone message recorder. Back in the day, kids, we used to have these big giant things that you have a cassette tape in, and you'd have to record your message, and you'd have to go back and listen to the message every time you wanted to. Well, she made a pedal out of those, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool.
J-Rod, what's going on?
Yeah, so as I've been talking about for the last month, I've been playing again with my friend, and he's suggesting we actually put a real band back together, and that's really exciting. So we're thinking about maybe actually going out and playing some gigs at where people like get some original music gigs. Like we wouldn't want to go out and play a gig that's opening up for a cover band. We would like to go somewhere where everybody expects original music. And I've really never done that before since, I played a long time ago. So it'd be kind of a new thing for me this decade.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's like after all this stuff, this virus stuff goes away eventually, who knows? I don't know when that's going to be, but I think we're going to try to give that a shot. So I'm really excited about maybe possibly playing out again, So.
You know that the crabs are not a virus, right, Jared?
You mean I need a special shampoo?
Oh boy! All right. Well, that's fun. That's cool. We're happy to hear that. And by the way, I did hear Jared shared with me one of the tracks that they're working on, and I was really impressed. I genuinely thought it was a great tune, and they got some promise. So hopefully they can wrap that up and put a bow on it and let everybody else hear it soon. Let's see here. As for me,
how about you, Todd?
Well, thanks, Tony. I broke a string.
Well, that's that you've done that 100 times.
I know I haven't. That's why I'm bringing it up. I can't remember the last time I broke a string. I used the SIT strings, and I play hard. And I was just sitting there and playing, and it broke mid-song, and there was a bit of a satisfaction there, and I'm awful glad it didn't happen during a gig. But it just finally gave way. It said, enough, I surrender. So, and it was my super bendy one, too.
Did you have an extra?
Just kidding. It was my D string, actually.
Really?
Did you have an extra one?
Well, I didn't need to like drop it and restring it really quick in my basement for nobody. So I have not as yet restrung it, but I'm prepared to do so. So that happened, and that was kind of satisfying. I'm just saying. Boing!
Yeah, breaking stuff feels pretty good sometimes.
Sometimes it does, especially if you're really rocking. The bummer of it was right before a little bit of a solo part, so I didn't really get to do that. And I was like, oh. But anyways, let's break some of this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Dan Adamson from Blammo Electronics. Give us your 4 on the floor.
Woo! 4 on the floor. All right. First one, Vox Tone Bender. It'd be the old vintage style one. 2 transistors, kind of like a fuzz face. Cleans up well when you roll back the volume on your guitar. So it's kind of nice for the rhythm guitar parts that are a little cleaner. And you just roll it on up for your lead parts. And the volume comes up with it too. So that's kind of nice. So that would be my dirt.
What now?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
For that one in particular, is there a reason? I mean, in all the world of the dirt pedals, why that one?
It sounds kind of rude, and it also cleans up really well. And I've played a lot of pedals, but that one sounds cool. Yeah, I guess it's just the one that kind of makes my ear perk up the most that I've played so far.
Yeah. I think you might be gravitating towards something that I've brought up many times on the show, which is when you're talking about like a distortion or even of an overdrive or even maybe even a lightweight fuzz, like something like you're talking about. I don't like things that sound too perfect or too contained. I don't necessarily need it to sound like, I threw a knife in a blender, but there's a certain sound we talked about like with like a Boss, like it's so perfect and it's contained, like an SD1 or something like that. And the pedal that you're talking about, I think has that sort of like raw edge to it. Like it just got like a little extra something to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing. It just sounds rude, kind of nasty, but still a little bit with the vintage smooth thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, like Tony.
Yeah. It's just like Tony.
Yeah. Yes, more than you might think.
Cool. Let's see here. How about number 2?
All right, so that's dirt, and then I probably want some kind of delay pedal, something old again. I would go with the Belly Pock Deluxe. Really like that one. It's got the oscillation foot switch on the left there. That it's a whole lot of fun. You hit it and just goes wild. But plus, when you're twisting the knobs with that one, I mean, it just sounds, for lack of a better term, it just sounds warmer than a lot of the other analog delays or tape style delays when you're getting the swooshy sounds, like more so than an Ibanez 89. So it just sounds really, really dang good.
Awesome.
And then from there, it would go into a Miku pedal. I don't know if you guys have played that, but that's probably one of the best guitar pedals ever made. It's
Miku?
Yeah, Miku Stomp. It's the one that...
How do you spell that?
It's just Miku. And a lot of people are going to hate it. It makes your guitar sound like a Japanese girl. If you guys haven't played that one. That one's so rad.
Oh, right,
so rad.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a love or hate pedal. Mostly hate, but people love it because it's just like, this is so gonzo. Like
I know, but it makes you have fun, and also you shouldn't really be playing the blues all the time. You got to have some fun with it too. That's I don't know. Just if you can't like the Miku pedal, man, I think we relax a little bit on.
That's the one. It does all vowel sounds, all Japanese vowel sounds, right?
Yeah, it does a bunch of different wacky vowel sounds. Yeah, there's a random setting. There's like ones that are more, set. I honestly, I'm not a expert on it. I just love the thing. I pretty much do a lot of looping. So the idea is to kind of have some kind of little song background and then loop over the top of it with the Miku, just because I don't want to sound like anybody else, and it sounds ridiculous. But then again, it's probably only fun for about 20 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think there should be another kind of voice pedal out there, though, right? Like maybe one that's. I always try to get the Miku to sound like a monster. You know, that's what you would think. You hear it and you go, "Well, I wonder how it responds to octave down," and it gets kind of glitchy most of the time. But
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, just pretty much trying to find new sounds, really. And the Miku is the weirdest pedal I can think of and the cheesiest. So
that is. It's both.
That's why I like
and
it.
it's a collector because of that. What you got for number 3?
I guess it would be
Four. I'm
just a nice
playing
simple, the Ditto looper, the one with just one stomp switch. Super easy, nice simple looper that it seems to not really, compared to the Boss one, the more you stack loops, the first loop you played starts to sound like the sound quality deteriorates, and you don't really notice that as much with the Ditto. So it's kind of neat. I know there's another loop pedal, the MXL one. I really haven't got a chance to try it, but that looks really neat too.
I have the Ditto, and
yeah, it's simple and cool.
It is. It's super simple and cool. It's also a great way to simply aggravate yourself. If you're trying to do this, it's like, okay, step and let go, or step and hold for 3 seconds. But don't do that if you've already stepped once. Is like that's the only part that I'm like,
oh yeah, I could see that being irritating.
It was super fun when I was doing the, and by fun I mean facetiously. This was super fun when I was trying to do the Xander circuitry Junipero demo that I did, and I kept on having to do it over and over again because I just fat foot,
Right. Yeah, it's easy to tap the foot switch one extra time, and then it's got to do something else. But really, there's just, you either tap it twice or you tap and hold. So while you can mess it up, there's just a couple things you can do. So with a little practice, you can manipulate the hell out of that thing really easily.
Yeah.
The heck out of that.
That's not making
thing.
me feel better, but thank you.
I wasn't trying to. No.
Well, solid, man. That's kind of a fun 4 on the floor.
Yeah, I know it's not. I mean, that's what I would play. It's an honest one.
What? Don't discount it. It's good, man. Roll with it.
Oh well, thanks. Man. I'm just not like, it's not like a band setup. You know what I mean? That's like a play by yourself kind of thing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I get you. All right. Hey, we want to give a quick shout out to John Fintel, johnfintel.com, JONFINTEL.com. He is a music engineer, music recorder, music producer, mixer master extraordinaire. And I say extraordinaire because he loves guitar tone, and he will do the bestest job that he can to get the guitar tone that you want, and maybe even that you don't even know you want. That was my case, honestly. We were doubling up on a couple tracks, and he suggested something. I was like, nah, I don't want that. And then I did it, and I was like, oh man, that sounds good. So, big thanks to John. He's a supporter of our show. We are housing our stuff over there. When everything opens back up, we will resume our studio-ness there. And so, if you are interested in mastering your already mixed tracks or getting some advice or blah, 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 hit him up, johnfintel.com, JONFINTEL. Thanks, buddy.
Indeed.
Dan Adamson, Blammo Electronics. Let's talk about your pedals and your stuff and how you do it and all of that good things. And English, too.
Right.
Tell me all that good things that you did.
Do it in a haiku, Todd.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Yes, we should do the would you rather in a haiku. That would be amazing.
Haiku is a great art form. It's really underutilized.
Oh, seriously.
We need more.
Yes. Speaking of needing more, we've got 3 pedals here because we all need more pedals. Dan, you make some pretty fun pedals, and I know that fun is a part of the core of what you do.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear. We've got one called the Cork Sniffer, which is, pretty cheeky. And the Fuzz Detonator, which has the Looney Tunes, Explode-orama thing going on it. And
right.
So we can tell that you like to have fun. How did you decide that you wanted to have fun in pedals?
That's a great question. We kind of touched on it earlier. I was messing around a little bit with circuit bending because wild sounds appealed to me. And
What is describe circuit bending for those that don't know really quick?
circuit bending is pretty much taking a circuit and making connections where they shouldn't be that hopefully sound interesting. And that's pretty much it. And usually you start by finding a toy that might have a neat tone or something interesting about it, and you unscrew it, get to the circuit board where the solder connections are on the back, and you wet your finger and start touching those, and your finger is going to make connection to the solder joints. Did that sound bad? I don't know. Anyways, you're trying to make connections on the board that weren't supposed to be there, and when you find one that sounds interesting, you solder a wire and a couple switches together or a potentiometer between the two, and you've got more control over it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. How did you stumble into that?
Just probably the internet, like a lot of things.
All
Just
right.
just seeing videos, you know what I mean? Like seeing videos, but wow, what was that? Is that guy playing through a toy? All those bleep sounds. That's really interesting. But I tried to do that myself, and it was, like I said earlier, it was just too much of a pain in the neck.
So you said there's got to be a better way.
And there was.
All right. So you were pre-inclined to electronicness in some way, shape, or form. Did you learn how to do all the the soldery stuff and everything by yourself, or were you taking classes? Or
At first, I bought a soldering iron. I didn't even know what a good one was, and couldn't understand why my solder joints couldn't look like what was on TV, and this was probably like 2006, something like that. So you couldn't just hop on YouTube and watch a tutorial or anything. So I just cobbled together a couple things, and they didn't really look very well. Put electronics away for a while, and then but I've always been interested in building stuff. I was building cigar box guitars and just the little knickknacks that made music, and having a lot of fun with it. But somewhere around 2017, I saw an ad pop up on Craigslist. Cattle and Bread was looking for people. I had no idea about the background or anything like that, and they gave me a job, and I was kind of shown a lot of the cool side of pedals. I mean, like how they're put together, what goes into designing them. Even though it was a different crew, they were all new people. I didn't really know that at the time, but it was still great to just be exposed to, what separates a good pedal from a great pedal, or what, how do they even work? How do you put them together? So I answered a lot of those questions, kind of saw how it was done.
did you ultimately learn what separates a good pedal from a great pedal?
Shoot, I think I'm getting there, but it's pretty elusive.
I suppose it is, or else we would just have one pedal.
But I mean,
something.
as far as like build quality, there are rules. There are stuff that you should be doing, and if you're not, then you can make an argument that that's not as good as the person who is, just on build quality alone. And so build quality doesn't bother everybody.
Yeah. What are some of those things that you would consider? And this isn't you making a concrete statement that that is going to seal your fate or anything. But what are some things that you consider a great build?
Okay, that's a good question. What I really like to see is board-mounted potentiometers, because we twist these things, the nuts rattle loose, and if you've got them connected by wires, yeah, he rattled.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, it can happen. But those things can rattle loose. The lugs of the pot can touch the side of the enclosure and short out, or they just keep spinning and wad up the wires. So anyways, yeah, I like to see board mounted pots. That's kind of nice. I like to see the jacks, not board mounted, not plastic. I like to see metal jacks.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see soft switching, relay based bypass, just because it doesn't make the click sound, and they're apparently rated for 3 times as many clicks. Now, I haven't done this research myself. I don't have like a pneumatic arm pumping the foot switch to prove that it does it 3 times as many times. But it seems like it does. It seems like a hardy foot switch.
I like the clicks.
Yeah. See, some people do like I mean, you feel it. Like if you're in a big loud band, right? You really feel it more than stepping on the relay ones.
I just posted something recently about the quote unquote soft switch, or and I think there's a place for both of them. One of the things I was talking about was if you're dipping into an effect that you have to do maybe repeatedly during the same song, that can be annoying. And not just the clicks, but especially if you're doing it for specific parts. Like in one of our songs, we do something where I have to dip into and turn on like a helicopter style tremolo, and it happens kind of quick. So for me, it previously was click down and then it's up and then it's engaged, and then if I want to turn it off, I have to click it down and then it goes up and then it's engaged, rather than just going boom, it's on, boom, it's off. So that's something.
Yeah, it can mess up your timing, right? With the
Absolutely.
with the rest of the group. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a great point. It's not always important, and it's just something I kind of like to see. But I would definitely say I like to see the board mounted pots. You can't always do it, and if you're not board mounting your pots, you can drill a little hole and attach that tab into the enclosure. When you see a potentiometer outside of the enclosure, they have that little tab on the side. Well, if you drill a little hole into the enclosure and put the tab in there, then there's just no way the pot can rattle loose when the nut loosens from the enclosure. Anyways, yeah, just try to keep little things like that in mind. Build quality is kind of something that's important to me. Yeah.
Now, when you see somebody with like the braided wires and stuff like that, does that tickle your toenails?
I don't know. I don't really like to see too many wires. I like PCBs. I like seeing cool PCB shapes, and if you route them properly, there's really no issue with creating more noise. There's some people say, this is probably true with larger amps and stuff, but there's this misconception that point to point is better. Some people think that that's just not even true at all. And I really don't have an opinion on it. I'm self-taught, and I work with engineers and things like that. I like to ask them questions about that, but I'm really just open to just about anything. I design by my ear.
Yeah. We did at least a half of a show on that with Zach from Mythos Pedals and Mike Trombley from Native Audio. And yeah, it was kind of fun. We touched on that whole thing, and I think that there is some specialness when you open up and you see somebody's different kinds of. There's several different ways to do things, and there's room for all of it.
Absolutely. I'd say that probably the lamest thing build quality wise is just extra long wires, wadded up, duct tape in there. I mean, that's totally cool with DIY stuff, totally fine at your house, but you'll be, the first pedal you make, you'd be surprised how easy that will crap out on you when you take it outside of your house and start playing with your band and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for people who are experimenting with DIY stuff to know. It's like, that can cause things to go south. So tidy it up in there, people.
Yeah, just solder connections. They rattle loose and your pedal doesn't work. And if you're working with strip board, it's a nightmare trying to figure out. Yeah. Anywho.
Well, that's a good intro into what you're all about. What do you play? What kind of gear are you playing with your, just on a daily basis?
I'm not really in a band because, I'm like 37. So it's kind of strange to be in a band at that age, even though it's a whole lot of fun. And it's just,
don't laugh, Tony.
Feels odd. It just feels odd to try to go out and get people to play in front of you, so I'm playing a lot by myself.
I thought that for a long time, and now I think I'm going to go out and play again.
I will not disclose my age right now.
No, and it's really great, man. I mean, when you're jamming with people, you guys can tell when something's sounding good and it's worth taking out, you know. But when you're 20, you're kind of more inclined to take stuff out when you shouldn't.
That's a good point. Discretion comes with age. Yes.
Right. And so
it's ironic because I'm going with the same guys I was with when I was 16, and we're going to go play the same material plus new stuff. It's going to be great.
Maybe you guys you probably got something going on there.
The heck with discretion. Oh yeah, that's why I know. I mean, that was probably the best time I ever had. So we're gonna give it another shot.
Are you gonna wear
nice.
spandex?
No, that's what I love to hear. That.
Spandex, Tony. Yeah, we might do that.
That's nice. Headband.
Maybe.
I
just, as long as my gut kind of hangs over my waistline in the spandex, that's the look I'm going for.
Perfect.
I think you got it.
Yeah, nailed it. So let's just touch on these. No, we're not getting out of it that easy. You said you weren't in a band, and then we totally interrupted you with all of our band nonsense. What kind of guitars are you playing?
Oh, cool. What kind of guitars? I have a Reverend Double Agent OG.
Yeah.
Probably the one I like. I play the most. I've just got a Telecaster player, a Fender Telecaster player. That's a pretty cool guitar. It's
nice.
Black with maple neck. And I got a old Epiphone Les Paul Jr., you know, those really cheap ones for $150 that's been kind of tricked out a little bit.
Put a sticker on it.
I don't really use it much. Yeah, it's just a sticker on there. No, just shielded and intonatable bridge and a brass nut and some Gibson tuners and stuff. So that's kind of like a cheap guitar that's supposed to be good, and it's really not that good still. No. You know, it's not.
They sold a crap ton of them though.
Oh yeah,
that was the goal.
Yeah. They look cool though, and it's a ratty little guitar. I think you should always have like a ratty guitar around if you're building pedals, because you got you know, you have a good guitar. You should have a rat one too. See how it sounds against that.
Perfect.
I mean, you might drop it on accident. You know?
Yeah.
How about amps?
Perfect.
Amps wise, what you looking at?
I got a Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue. I got a Fender Bassman 10. That's really cool, a vintage one. Silver face.
Yep.
I got a. Let me see here. I've got a little Epiphone Valve Junior for testing stuff. I got this other weird little Harmony solid state 5-watt that just sounds awful. It's point to point wired, and it's like 2 watts. It's got the strangest tone knob, and it sounds really, you know, it sounds unique. You could, if you ran your voice through it or something, it could probably get a really cool sound, but it looks neat. You know what I mean? It sounds terrible.
That's sometimes that's great.
Well, you know, we hear with our eyes too, man. I know that sounds dumb, and it is dumb, but there's some truth to it.
It's true.
In a way. You know?
Yes, Todd, tell us more.
Oh, and I also have a. I'm sorry. Hold on one sec. I'm sorry. I have a newer Marshall Origin 52. I'm not that familiar with it. I've been trying to get some gear, so you know, to understand more of these tones. You know, because I've only been doing this pedal game for probably about 2 years, and I feel like just right now I'm kind of starting to understand more of it.
When you say understand more of it, do you mean the build, the circuitry, or how it relates to different equipment such as amps and guitars and people seeking certain tones, or what?
I'd say more of the different tones that are available, that are classic, that are people familiar with, you know, because you don't really know how different amps sound until you've owned them and really played through them. But as far as build quality, I learned a lot of that on the job doing temp jobs here in Portland. So I feel pretty good about the build quality stuff, but yeah, learning how the circuits work, just how they interact with other bits of popular gear. That's sort of the thing that I'm starting to get more familiar with. You know, it takes a lot of money to get some of this stuff, and
yeah,
it takes a lot of time and playing through it. You know, and I'm like an intermediate guitar player. You know, I know some modes and stuff like that, but I really haven't been able to put in the just a lot of hours it takes to be, go from decent to good, or good to great, and once you're there, then you really, you can really design some really good stuff, not to say that you can't get lucky. I got pretty lucky with the Fuzz Detonator. In my opinion, I think it's great, but that wasn't something that I dreamed up and was able to do right away. I had to just keep plugging away at it.
Why don't we talk about it? So let's get into a couple of your pedals here. You just mentioned the Fuzz Detonator. Why don't you walk us through what the genesis of this was? Why did you decide that this pedal needed to be made?
All right. Well, most of the time when you're first trying to design a pedal, you usually go with fuzz. So I thought that would be a good place to start. And I wanted to have a pedal that did wild stuff immediately. I didn't want to have to bend over, turn the knobs, or go over to my amp, stick the pickups next to the speaker. I didn't want to have to do any of that. I wanted to hit a button and for it to go wild. And I kind of did that.
Yes, you did that, definitely.
But also have, like, for people who hate that sort of thing, the other side is like a classic, good sounding fuzz. So even if you do hate that, you're like, I kind of like the other side too. So you can't totally, if you're being honest, you probably don't. If the one side annoys you, the other side, you probably like it.
Now you've got tone, volume, transistor, feedback. Transistor's not one that you typically see on a fuzz pedal. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I know that one's gonna confuse some people, but it's pretty much a gain knob. The way a Fuzzrite circuit is set up, it blends between two transistors. So that's really kind of what it was. Is it just it's a transistor knob. It blends between the first one and the second one. And when you have it dialed all the way to the right, that's when you've got both of them max gain.
Gotcha. Very cool. And anything special about the graphics on this? You got the mushroom cloud with the Looney Tunes circle on
it. Yeah, well, whenever you think of blowing things up, or at least when I do, I typically think of Wile E. Coyote pushing down the detonator box, right? He's always pushing that thing down, right, and never getting the Roadrunner, but maybe one day.
Very cool. And then we've got the cork sniffer. This one is, I think, this is probably the one where I maybe caught first wind of what you were doing when I saw this on Instagram. And by the way, if you still aren't there yet, where can they go check out your stuff on Instagram?
I guess it's Blammo_Electronics.
Okay.
At Blammo_Electronics. Yeah.
All right. So go check that out.
Instagram thing. Yeah, check it out.
And this is that sort of extra fun thing. Like, now with the detonator, it comes in this wood box like dynamite, which is like pretty cool. It's got the hay stuff in it, and it's kind of neato, right? I made the video about that and got the box and actually figured out how to open up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I asked you about that. How do you open this?
Yeah, it is a little Rubik's Cube-ish trying to get it out.
Yeah, there's a nail on there. It looks like it could be sealed.
Yes. So this one, the cork sniffer, has got a big giant nose, a bunch of flies, and what appears to be a stinky smell. And you actually have a cork it's a single knob pedal. Why don't you talk to us about this?
Okay, sure. Yeah, and that cork knob is on a knurled shaft pot, so that means you can pull the knob off and replace it. If you love the sound and didn't like the knob, which I don't know who would. Who doesn't love the cork knob? But no, I mean, that's it's a pretty well-made knob. I took a normal one and epoxied a nice little cork over the top of there. And yeah, so it's not like a piece of cork just pushed over the top of the potentiometer shaft. You can take it off and it's done right. But yeah, what was the question? I'm sorry about the pedal in general.
About what made you decide to make this pedal and what's it all about and why do people need it?
Yeah, man.
Sorry, just for the record, it's a preamp dirty boost. It says so right here. Okay.
Yep. Says
Shows
it
you.
right on the pedal. So yeah, I was curious about some of these subtle pedals, like the EP3 preamp and stuff like that, where they don't do a lot to your sound, but people swear by them and say they're fantastic. It's kind of like that idea. It's got a Pete Cornish buffer that you can use in bypass in there, and it's kind of like some people think a buffer is a buffer. Some people think that's not true, that they feel different or that they sound different. And the Pete Cornish one is kind of like held in the highest regard. So you can either, use it or don't, and you get real subtle differences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in feel too, but it's not a drastic sound. And same with the clipping diodes, it's subtly clipped.
Silicone,
So it's just a subtle
clean,
pedal.
or germanium.
Yeah, it's a germanium-based linear boost with a little JFET preamp before that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, the silicon clipping diodes, that would be the silicon option on the switch, or germanium. So yeah, those just kind of dirties it up a little bit. Unless you run it at 18 volts, then it kind of turns it into a distortion, which hopefully you guys got a chance to run it at 18 because it's quite a bit different.
I didn't do that, but I will.
I did not either. And that was going to be my comment was, it is a very subtle pedal because, it does affect the sound, but it's not something that's like a crazy gain boost kind of thing. It just really provides kind of a maybe a little more grind out of the sound, I guess you'd say, but not something that you would use for like a lead boost or something like that. But let's talk more about running it at 18.
Okay, yeah, if you run it at 18, the clean boost will give you a lot more volume. That option on the toggle, if you're right in the middle on the clean, you're going to get more volume. On the silicon or germanium side, it's just going to be more compressed and more distorted, and it's pretty much like a little baby distortion that's got a lot of dynamic feel. And I want to mention the silicon and the germanium diodes. I got the germanium ones in series, so it's almost the same level. So you can kind of judge between them, be like, oh, is silicon sound better or is it germanium? Because typically germanium ones are going to squash it twice as much as the silicon. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but usually you'll get more volume drop with germanium, but the way I have it set up, you will not. So you'll be able to kind of switch between the two more accurately.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hang on one second. Let me get a bit of Cornish buffer with a bit of waft of JFET just underneath that.
Very nice.
So, Jared, can you tell everybody what the heck is a cork sniffer?
A cork sniffer is, somebody that's really kind of snobby, or you take a subject and they dig deep into that.
Well,
it's really hard for me to explain. It's like,
it is.
Like in pickups. So let me give pickups an example.
That's why I called on you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So when I get a cork sniffer that orders from me, I get excited because I know what they're looking for. I know what they're sniffing for when they want to buy a pickup from me. They want to get the butyrate bobbins. And that really does have a smell to it. They have to get the plain enamel. They have to get everything vintage correct. It has to be everything.
New old stock wire, all that stuff.
Just all that stuff, man. And
nice.
That's what we call cork sniffers. People that they have to, every little facet of that object has to be and even down to like the recent run of PAFs that you have, where the corner radius on the cover, the covers is it's exact like the old ones, and that's why
they don't make those normally.
No, they don't. People who have them made charge a lot of money for those.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money to have a cover tooling made to make covers.
Yeah, wow.
You've heard well, maybe you haven't, but many have heard the discussions about, is it the bumblebee or the oil wrap cap, or the
Paper and oil.
the paper and oil. Yeah, not the oil wrap. Don't wrap your stuff in
Orange
oil.
drop.
Yeah, the orange drop. So like that kind of thing where
capacitors.
Yeah, if you believe that there is a different sound, and that's what makes you get excited, then cool.
Right. And the first thing an engineer will probably tell you is well, did you pull them out and measure the values? Oh, you're probably hearing a value difference.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good argument, but who knows I don't know if it's true,
Yeah.
Here's what I say. A lot of people out there, even though they're going to take their product and they're never going to see what it's made of, they still want to know that the parts are there that they want. They just want to know that they're there. So they want to look under the hood and make sure everything is right. That's the way they are.
And that's cool, man. If that inspires you, because that's, why you want a new piece of gear, right? And more power to you, man. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I serve those people all the time, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Enjoy the heck out of it.
I do.
So this cork sniffer is a really good option in case you're like, no, I just don't want a boost, and maybe I don't want something that sounds that is limiting as like an EP boost or something like that. This is a really good option for that, and it does have a volume, which is kind of nice. So it's not just most of them have volume. So there you go.
Yeah, bam.
But, look at that bonus.
Wait, yours has a volume too?
No, but it's I'd say it's good because it's kind of a small enclosure, right? It's got top mounted jack, so it's sort of a pedal board space saver. You don't need your buffer. It's got a buffer as well that you can turn off and on. So you got a boost and a buffer in one. And then also you can dirty it up a little bit if you need to.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of like a boost buffer in a small package.
Do you like running this particular one in front of or at the end of your chain or in the middle?
Man, I guess it really matters where the fuzz is with that. But after a fuzz with the buffer on, dude, it'll give you that last 5%, The Pete Cornish buffer after a big muff is pretty amazing. You should try it. It's really cool.
I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Before I send it back.
Done deal.
Okay, then we have the Shrew. This is a great sounding pedal, man. Legit.
Thank you.
This is an awesome sounding pedal. Why don't you tell us about this one?
All right. It's shaped it's similar to the classic Rat. So it's shaped like a shrew because a shrew is kind of meaner.
Yeah.
It's got a gate.
The circuit board specifically, that's what we're referencing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should
That's quite all right.
pretend like no one's seen the pedal, right? Yeah, the circuit board is shaped like a shrew because I was trying to see if they would actually build the thing, I've been working with the board house just like everybody else, and they built it, so I was really excited about that. But yeah, as far as the sound, it's just like a kind of a classic distortion with some clipping options. You got asymmetrical or symmetrical clipping, or op amp
what's the difference from that? If somebody doesn't know how that's going to affect their sound, how might that affect someone's sound?
Well, on the Shrew, the asymmetrical option is going to be a little more open. It's going to be a little louder, less compressed, and the symmetrical option is going to be more distorted, kind of nastier.
And the op amp.
Yeah, the op amp that takes the diodes out of the circuit and really opens it up. You can kind of get more of an overdrive sound in there. So it goes sort of from overdrive territory into distortion, but the gate thing can kind of make it more metal. That's pretty handy little feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I found, that the gate was probably the most useful part on this kind of pedal, because it really, most of these kinds of pedals tend to be a bit on the noisy side, but it really does clamp down really nicely. So I like that portion of it.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I just really appreciated how it sounded. It sounded how I wanted it to hear. And again, you're basing it off of a familiar familiar territory with the Rat, but with, your own little spin on it. And it's a real simple, good looking, easy to use, great sounding pedal. I mean, can't really go wrong with
there's
that.
there's 3 knobs and 2 switches, and some of the names, sound intimidating, asymmetrical and symmetrical, but yeah, it's really quite simple to use.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And well built. So there you go.
Right on.
Now, future offerings or other offerings you have, can you tell us about anything that might be coming up?
Yeah, sure. Right now, I'm just kind of going through the classic circuits, building about 10, maybe 15 of them, doing my homework, seeing what makes them tick, what makes them good. And so if you see some of the stuff on my Reverb page now, it might not be there later, as far as clones. And I'm planning, after I've gone through a lot of the classic stuff, at that point, I'll probably be better suited to make more original circuits. But for now, I mean, the original circuits I have is just the Fuzz Detonator, and the cork sniffer. And a lot of the other ones are just, modified classic circuits. But it's funny, a good mod can really change something sound-wise. On the sheet of paper, it might not look that different, but, at the end of the day, it sounds a lot different. So it is.
Perfect.
But as far as new stuff, I'd sure like to make a delay. I've got a FE1 breadboarded now. I'm trying to get into the digital realm, figuring that sort of thing out, and it's really exciting. I don't know a whole lot about coding right now, but I'm excited to learn.
That's very cool. Delay territory, that's a whole other bag of chips. Some people really excel at that.
Yeah, that stuff's more complicated. It's one thing to mess up a signal and make a fuzz pedal, but to make a really good delay that's clean, and it's hard. It can be pretty hard. It's not much of a beginner thing. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. I'd like to learn more about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna name drop our buddy Mike Trombley really quick. He's kind of a wizard with that stuff, and Mike. Sorry about this, but hey, if you have questions about this, maybe hit him up.
That'd be, if he was gracious enough to answer, that would be great. But people are busy. I totally understand that. And sometimes when you try to explain something to someone who's on a level a little bit lower, if they don't get it the first couple times, it's annoying.
Yeah, I get it.
And explaining electronic stuff is tricky, dude. It really can be.
It absolutely can be, especially if it's like the 4th time around. I mean, there's still things still things like there's a lot that I don't understand about it, but that's why I like doing the show, because I always end up learning something, so.
Right.
My mom also a real big fan of the teeny tiny toggles, which you have.
Oh yeah, man.
I like those. It's little stupid stuff like that. You're like, yeah, little toggles. I like this pedal.
Yeah, the little toggles. I guess you don't smash them as easy with your foot.
This is
kind
true.
of the idea there.
Yes. And there's something cooler about them, I think. I'm not really sure why. But, man, thank you so much for sending these out and letting us play with them. I would highly encourage anybody who's interested in what we've been talking about to give them a shot. They make some really great noise, and that's what it's all about. And I think that your I guess, search for fun, it can be seen in these, and all of this.
Right on.
Yeah. I think.
I'm just trying to have fun with it. I mean, music, for me anyway, it's fun. For some people, it's some serious business, but I like to laugh. Yeah.
Not a lot of Norwegian black metal is doing that right now, but anyhow, I like to laugh a lot. It's my favorite thing to do. Yeah, that's my best Norwegian.
How would Jared do a Norwegian accent?
Norwegian accent.
Hey, a Norwegian.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, awesome. So everybody, make sure you check out Blammo Electronics, and we appreciate Dan for walking us through all this stuff, this cool gear, and getting to know him a little bit.
Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
You bet. We got a little thing that we got to do here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time in the show where we play a little game, and that game is Would You Rather? So this week's Would You Rather is give a little, take a little. So it's a little different than what we've been doing. So you're scrolling on the music website, the music instrument website, and you see an old vintage, just really nice looking Marshall JCM 800 from the early 80s. Like, you know, the one that Slash had and the one that tons of rock and roll is recorded on. But, you know, it's $3,000. So you've got some gear, though. One thing you have that you could sell and come up with the cash is a Klon Centaur. And
The gold, the horsey.
The gold horsey. So the top of the line, the one that everybody wants.
Yeah.
Or you have a reissue gold top that plays like butter. It's just a
Gibson
great
gold
guitar.
top, Les Paul.
And it just plays awesome. So you don't want to get rid of either of those two things, but you have to choose one. So would you rather? Which one would you rather choose? That's what I meant.
All right. Whew. So it still is a would you rather. Very clear. It's this or that. You got to give up your gold Klon Centaur horsey or your Gibson Les Paul gold top reissue.
That you're attached to.
Yes, very much so. All right. Tony Baloney, what are you doing?
I mean, to me, this is pretty easy. I think I'd dump the Les Paul because it's replaceable. I mean, plain and simple. The Klons, if it's an original one,
It is.
you're not gonna find even if they're reissuing them or anything like that. It's not gonna be the same thing. So. I'd dump something that's replaceable, and that would be the Les Paul Gold Top.
Okay. Jared?
Yeah, I see what Tony's saying, and you're right. That could be easy. However, in my case, I'm making it more difficult for myself because when I'm attached to a guitar and it plays just right and it sounds so good, I never want to get rid of it. You know, it's not easy when you find a guitar that you're really attached to these days anymore. You know, the days of going to the guitar shop, picking out a guitar has been long gone for a long time. But yeah, I'm going to drop the guitar. You can't find a Centaur. I mean, you can't.
Well, you can find them. They're expensive. But they're not any more expensive than that gold top.
I know, but, you know, Tony's right. And that just... I guess it was supposed to be more difficult to decide, but
Well, I guess the bigger question is, if you're getting the JCM 800, do you really need the Klon?
Yeah, we didn't ask that question. Maybe Dan can answer that question for us. Dan, what are you doing?
I'd have to take the pedal. Yeah, go with the nerd pedal there.
So you're going to keep the pedal.
Because you're not going to get another one, right? I mean, you could get rid of... Yeah, I would keep the pedal. I mean, you could get rid of it and clone it and get something really close, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I keep the pedal.
Well, I can't believe I'm saying this.
How about you, Todd?
Thanks you, Tony. I'm gonna ditch the Klon.
What?
I'm gonna get rid of the Klon. I'll for a couple reasons. Number one, I like Jared. I think if you got a guitar that just sings in your hands, that's special, and it'll you can keep it forever. You can hand it down, and I think that there's, but aside from all that, or perceived value or anything, I think that there is. If you have that pedal, there's obviously some like mythical quality to that, but that could be very subjective and negligible even. A guitar is kind of undeniable. And that guitar through that JCM is going to sound amazing. And to Tony's point, I'm not going to hear that clone. I'm just telling you. Because I'm going to have that thing goosed, and it's going to be sounding great.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Thanks, Jared. You can't change your answer.
I know.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping the guitar. And
well, you win then.
Thanks. Yay.
Yeah.
You get to keep the guitar.
All right. Let's see here. We have a couple of people we need to thank.
Yes, Todd, you are correct. It's more than just a handful of people. It's a bunch of people.
Yeah.
These would be our executive producers
That's
that
right.
help make this podcast possible. Let's face it, we all need help, don't we now?
We do.
Thank you. Now, someone out there is probably saying, what is an executive producer? And more importantly, how can I become one? I want you to go over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs and take a peek. You'll find a couple of different levels in which you can participate, become a patron of this very own podcast.
That's right.
And kind of the top of the heap, as we like to say sometimes, would be our executive producers. You get a great bevy of prize packages, things like barefoot buttons and T-shirts and picks and stickers and
Keychains
and giveaways. Oh, giveaways. Yes, that's right. I said giveaways. There's plenty to be had. But one of the things that you get as an executive producer, I don't even know that you could put a price tag on it. Could you, Jared?
No.
What is that?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing.
That's
That's what I'm doing right now. So we want to welcome our newest executive producer, Mr. Liam Martin from Bilgola Guitars from down under in Australia. Welcome aboard, my friend. But let's go. Let's talk about Steve Keys and Mark Garton and Adam Johnson, James Pennington, Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, Tim Novak, John Esterly, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Barazin.
All right.
No. Don't think for a second that I'm done. No, I am not done. Because just a little step up from the executive producer. They're executive producers too, but they're extra special. And that's
Who are they?
They're our grand poobahs.
Oh, yeah.
They get a fez. They wear a fez. So let's a special thanks to our grand poobahs, Mr. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S. And Tommy Manasco. Thanks to each and every one of you guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Dan Adamson, where can people find your wares?
They can find them at blammoelectronics.com. That'll link you over to my reverb store. And yeah, have a look. Check it out.
Awesome. Tony Baloney, where can people find your stuff?
Hey, if you want to get a special pick guard, you're changing out pickups, whatever you're doing, go over to pickguardian.com. Take a look at some of the things that I have to offer available right there. If there's something that you need but don't see, shoot me an email. I will take care of you personally.
Yeah.
Pick guards, the fancy mud flaps of the guitar.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. Jared, how about yourself?
Oh, yeah. If you need pickups, give me a call. No, you could find my stuff on Instagram. I do a lot of really cool old vintage rewinds on Instagram. And the latest thing I put up there is a real set of double cream 1959 PAF pickups. So check that out.
How much do those go for, Jared?
Anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a set. It's ridiculous. It is, but that's just what they go for. I don't know.
Incredible.
If you want to go to the website, I've got some cool limited run stuff going on, and the new noiseless Jazzmaster pickups, BrandonWildPickups.com.
Yeah, those were featured on Eric Marrow's page. Go check him out. I saw
that.
Too.
That was great.
Yeah. Kick butt job, man.
Yeah, he does such a good job with his demos. Thank you, Eric, for doing that for the guitar world. And you can send me a note, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. Shoot me an email there, and we can. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Doggone it. And you can DM me on Instagram at guitarknobs. Send us your would you rathers. If you like this one, or you have a better idea, and you're like, no, I could do a better job than that, doofuses, then tell us. We'd love to read it.
Yeah, prove us.
Yes. Big, ginormous thanks to Dan Adamson of Blammo Electronics.
Woo! Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. It was great being on.
Awesome. Yeah. We're glad to have you on. Glad to call someone a new friend, and our door is always open to you, buddy. All right. Everybody have an awesome guitar weekend. Subscribe!
Gee.
Toot sweet there, big boy.
Bilgola.
That's his Australian accent.
The one that you are fried, man.
You guys ever played a stylophone?
No.
A cork snicker. I just had an ice cream Snickers. No.
I got nothing.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.